spiritual growth, always wanted to be the best I can, and he came with his positive ability to see the world, make money, get out there. And so I think you always hope in a marriage that you can bring out the best in each other.
Are you aware that Ivana and Marla Maples were the first women to hold the position of Melania Trump? Additionally, the reason that Donald Trump's marriage to Marla Maples, a beauty queen, terminated is something that you would never believe. As a matter of fact, Trump's marriage to Marla was so contentious and fascinating that to this day, whenever we think about Marla, we can't help but recall the scandalous aspects that were involved in their union. The rumors that we heard at the time that the split took place were so stunning that they shocked us. Last but not least, after 20 years, Marla has finally confirmed what we had been thinking all along. However, what exactly took place between the two of them? For what reason did they only have a marriage that lasted for 6 years? Maintain your attention to find out. The Plaza Hotel in New York City, which Trump owned at the time, served as the location for the extravagant wedding that they organized. There were about 1,000 attendees present at the event, which included notable leaders from the corporate world as well as people from the entertainment industry. Nevertheless, the marriage was doomed from the very beginning of its existence. We have accumulated data that indicates to the notion that both Marla and Trump played active parts in the breakdown of their marriage, despite the fact that Marla has disclosed that their marriage was plagued by problems that were so far beyond both of their control. Let us dissect it in detail. The fact of the matter is that a great number of people were taken aback by the news that Trump and Marla were actually going to get married. This was especially true given Trump's contentious divorce from Ivana, which resulted in a very substantial settlement. During the course of the divorce proceedings between Ivana and Donald Trump, it was revealed by the Chicago Tribune that Trump had locked Ivana out of her office at the Plaza Hotel. This sparked an immediate court struggle regarding the legitimacy of the 4 prenuptial agreements that they had consecutively written during the course of their marriage. This divorce garnered worldwide publicity, primarily as a result of the drama that had ensued between Trump, Ivana, and Marla. Now keep in mind that this divorce received worldwide publicity. In point of fact, the proceedings were featured on the front page of New York newspapers for 11 consecutive days, and the event was even the subject of the whole news coverage that Liz Smith, a gossip columnist, provided for a period of 3 months. In the end, the divorce was ultimately granted in December of 1990. Nevertheless, there was a particular condition attached to the decision. It was a stipulation of the divorce settlement that Ivana had to sign a non-disclosure agreement, and she was supposed to always obtain Trump's approval before she could talk about their failed marriage in public statements. In addition, Ivana was awarded a divorce settlement that includes $14 million, a mansion in Connecticut with 45 rooms, an apartment in the Trump Plaza, and the use of Mar-a-Lago, a beautiful resort owned by Trump, for 1 month out of the year. Therefore, when Trump made the decision to settle down with Marla, he made certain that he would not have to go through something similar to it again. Because of this, before they went on with the wedding, he negotiated a prenuptial agreement with Marla that was exceedingly stringent. After a period of time, the specifics of the contract were disclosed, and it was disclosed that Trump allegedly agreed to give Marla only $1 million if they divorced within 5 years, in addition to another $1 million to purchase a property. While that might appear to be a significant amount, it is important to note that his first wife, Ivana, was awarded more than $25 million in cash and assets. The situation is about to become more complicated. A few months after the couple tied the knot at the Plaza Hotel, Marla made a suggestion to Vanity Fair that she might have been under pressure to sign the contract during the ceremony. According to her, the prenuptial agreement was the most significant conflict throughout the entire process. She only agreed to it with the expectation that she and her new husband would revisit the subject at some point in the future, but they never did. As a result of this admission made by Marla, there was a lot of buzz in the media, and many people speculated that the entire foundation of their marriage was flawed. At the time, a celebrity divorce attorney was quoted as saying, "Don't you think this agreement was enough to have Marla feeling some type of way, especially when it was glaring that Trump was worried about her being with him for his money?" This statement was made in reference to the incident. It is undeniable that this arrangement caused some damage to the foundation of their marriage. Nevertheless, this is not the only prenuptial agreement information that has been disclosed. Apparently, it also provided that Trump would pay child support for their daughter, Tiffany Trump, until she reached the age of 21. However, Trump would stop paying child support if Tiffany ever became employed full-time, joined the military, or joined the Peace Corps while she was under his support. When it comes to their daughter Tiffany, are you aware that the birth of Tiffany was a significant factor that played a role in Trump's decision to marry Marla? Trump proposed to Marla shortly after she gave birth to Tiffany, and the couple eventually tied the knot. Tiffany was born before Trump proposed. Marla also asserted that the tragedy that occurred on December 7th, 1993, on the Long Island Railroad was the catalyst that caused him to reevaluate his life and the things that actually important to him, and that this was the moment when he proposed to her. Despite the fact that this appears to be romantic, the circumstances that led up to the birth of Tiffany are anything from romantic. Apparently, the first thing Donald Trump said when he found out that Marla was pregnant with Tiffany was, "Excuse me, what happened?" In an interview that took place on the Howard Stern show, President Trump discussed his response to the news that he was pregnant. "I am relieved that it took place," he replied. "I have a wonderful young girl named Tiffany, but at the time, I was like, excuse me, what happened? I don't know what exactly happened. I was unaware of this. And when I found out about it, my first thought was, well, what are we going to do about this?" The moment that Marla asked him, "Are you serious?" was the moment. We are experiencing the most breathtaking day of our life. At long last, he responded with a resounding, "Oh, great," without any enthusiasm. This was not the most nice thing for Marla to hear, as you can easily imagine, and it was just further evidence that at that specific point, Trump was probably not thinking about having children or getting married. Consider how they interacted with one another. Do you know that Marla Maples joined Trump's life and started seeing him even when he was still married to his first wife, Ivana Trump? Do you know this? The relationship between Marla, an actress, model, and television personality who was born in Georgia, and Donald Trump began in the late 1980s, and it was nothing short of incredibly contentious. Marla was born in Georgia. It was not just the fact that Donald Trump was married that caused controversy. It was also the fact that their connection was not concealed. Although these are some of the less significant elements that contributed to the dissolution of their marriage, there are a number of other significant and even more surprising aspects that were responsible for the destruction of Marla and Trump's happily ever after. Factors that played a significant role in the dissolution of the marriage. Marla has said that the primary reason why she and Trump divorced was due to the fact that they were two completely different individuals, and at some point in time, their values ceased to coincide with one another. Bear in mind that Marla and Trump were radically different from one another in terms of their backgrounds, and that there was a 17-year age gap between them. To begin, Donald Trump was born and reared in Queens, New York, into a family that was both wealthy and driven to achieve their goals. Trump was brought up in an environment that valued business acumen, competition, and winning. His father, Fred, was a renowned real estate developer, and he was the one who raised Trump. It goes without saying that this only served to influence Trump's desire to achieve success and his quest of power and fortune. On the other hand, Marla was brought up in a household that was extremely humble and pious. She was raised in the little rural town of Cohutta, which is located in the state of Georgia. Marla was brought up with values such as faith, generosity, and community. And when contrasted with Trump's attitude, which is characterized by a focus on financial possessions and transactional relationships, they are diametrically opposed. It wasn't just their upbringing that was the source of the problem. As a result of their disagreements, they finally came to have two separate priorities, and Marla believes that this was the cause of everything that went wrong. The statement that she made was that Donald and I came from two whole different universes. I desired to have a companion that could not only see me, but also provide me with emotional support. Donald, on the other hand, was frequently consumed with his empire, his image, and his accomplishments. Suddenly it was very evident that we were not living a shared life, but rather parallel lives. The environment that Donald lived in was dominated by power, business, and a desire to achieve public achievement, whereas I placed a high importance on connection, authenticity, and spiritual development. Both of them had quite different aspirations for their lives, which was a significant factor in the fact that they ended up parting ways. During that time period, Trump's major focus was on his economic empire, and his ambition left little opportunity for compromise or shared objectives. He had already been through the challenges of marriage and fatherhood with his first wife Ivana, and despite the fact that he was responsible for his children, he always prioritized his work life despite the fact that he was a father. According to reports, this caused Marla to experience a great deal of frustration within the marriage, and she frequently felt alienated and misunderstood. After years of dealing with this issue, she claims that they finally made the decision to go their separate ways and are now living their lives independently. When a couple gets married, they have the expectation that they will be able to bring out the best in each other. However, Marla says that after many years of being together, they both recognize that they were not accomplishing that for each other. The divorce between Marla and Trump was formalized in 1999, shortly after the couple had separated in 1997. Marla elaborated further on the reasons why the marriage collapsed during an interview. "I came in with George family values and a strong sense of spiritual growth, and I have always wanted to be the best that I can be. He came with his positive capacity to explore the world, make money, and get out there," she remarked. "It could get a bit combative, as you could have imagined. She stated this because I came in with George's family values and a strong sense of spiritual growth. She stated that she fell in love with Trump because she could sense his vulnerability. As a result of this one component, when they met, there was an instant connection, and it felt like they had known each other or like they were family." This was in response to the question of what it was about Trump that made her like him. Marla is adamant that their marriage ended in divorce for a number of reasons, one of which is that she believed that she could change him, despite the fact that she had observed several warning signs regarding the differences in their personalities and ideals. She added that after the divorce was finalized, young women in their 20s constantly want to modify the man they are with and make him a little softer. She also admitted that despite the fact that she was like that at first, she finally learned how to speak up more forcefully for what she believes in and express them. In spite of this, the fact that Trump and Marla held different beliefs was not the only thing that contributed to the dissolution of their marriage. There was a highly contentious event that took place not long before they decided to part ways, and there are speculations going around that this specific incident is connected to their choice to part ways. Controversies and rumors. There were a number of controversies and rumors that contributed to the conflict and poured fuel to the flames. Indeed, it received a great deal of publicity, and as a result, a great number of people became interested in it. The question is how something so wicked could be done in public. Now, this has been going on for more than 4 years. There was even a time when they broke up and then got back together again, until Trump ultimately divorced Ivana in the year 1990. During the time that Donald Trump and Marla Maples were married, one of the most contentious issues that arose was the speculation that Marla had been caught in the act of having sexual relations with one of Trump's bodyguards. In 1996, there were stories that appeared claiming that a security guard had discovered Marla and a bodyguard together on the beach while they were on vacation at Mar-a-Lago, which is Trump's private island residence in Florida. I will explain how it took place. It was 4 a.m, and the man was standing next to another individual. Spencer Wagner, a bodyguard, was identified as the one who was discovered with her, as stated in the police incident record that was dated April 16, 1996. It would appear that when he was first discovered, he reported to the police officer that he was on the beach by himself. On the other hand, a woman suddenly appeared from the shadows, and after being questioned, she revealed that she was Marla Maples, who is Trump's wife. One can easily understand that Marla had a tremendous deal of embarrassment as a result of the news breaking. The story received extensive coverage from the media. A number of newspapers featured it on their front pages, and it was also the focus of discussion on a number of television shows. It should come as no surprise that both Marla and Trump have repeatedly denounced the allegations. Marla asserted that the situation was accidental and that she was merely taking a restroom break on the beach when the police officer arrived. She claimed that the incident was a misunderstanding. In addition, the bodyguard, Wagner, first asserted that there was no romantic relationship between him and Maples, and that the mistake was merely a misunderstanding. Now we come to the point that each and every person found puzzling. Wagner was terminated by Trump 4 months after the incident in question. They were all taken aback when the news was made public. He had initially asserted that he was innocent, but others were left wondering why he had been sacked and whether or not he was genuinely innocent. Wagner's story was altered, much to everyone's astonishment, after he was terminated from his position. When he and Marla were discovered, he revealed to a tabloid newspaper that they had been making out on the beach when they were being caught. However, Wagner's ex-wife, Mary Miller, claims that in private chats, he always insisted that he never strayed with Marla. His words were, however, he never cheated with Marla. According to Miller, her ex-husband had told her that Marla was simply out of control, which is the reason why they became so close. Miller reportedly shared this information with the newsman. Miller further asserted that Wagner had informed her that Marla would occasionally make an attempt to lure him into a bedroom within the house, and that she would demonstrate a hostile attitude toward him. Now that's not all. Additionally, she stated that Wagner had informed her that Marla had a tendency to party excessively, and that whenever she visited the Florida house, she would party a great deal. Wagner suffered a great deal as a result of the entire affair, which is unfortunate. He stated that he was unable to find a job after Trump fired him, and that this caused him to feel hurt. This was in addition to the fact that he was in the press for his affair. Additionally, his ex-wife Miller asserted that the unfavorable news and the absence of job were the factors that ultimately led to his death on January 1st, 2012, which was caused by an overdose of substances. According to Miller, he is not a sleazy guy, he is not that kind of guy, and he is not a sleazy guy. As a result of this, he never truly recovered from the controversy. The drama did not finish there because Trump and Marla legally separated the following year after the incident, and then 2 years later, they divorced. This meant that the drama continued. According to the rumors, Trump was reportedly unhappy about the publicity, and this caused a significant deal of pressure on their marriage. This was despite the fact that she denied the allegations. It is also said to have contributed to the ongoing trust concerns that exist between them. During the time that Donald Trump was still married to Ivana, a surprising headline was published on the front page of the New York Post on February 16, 1990. Marla apparently boasted to her friends about how the best intimate connections she had ever had were with Trump, and the headline purportedly detailed this statement. Naturally, this caused the media to go into a frenzy, and it dominated the front pages of the tabloids in New York City for several weeks. This was the case despite the fact that other significant events, such as the release of Nelson Mandela from prison and the bankruptcy of bankers Drexel Burnham Lambert, had occurred at the same time. There are a lot of elements that contributed to the deterioration of these trust concerns. First and foremost, the fact that Trump and Marla started dating while he was still married to his first wife, Ivana, was a source of contention that only served to exacerbate the situation. The public became very interested in their marriage, and they wanted to know if it would be able to withstand the test of time. As you are undoubtedly aware, beginning a relationship with a foundation of betrayal raises questions about fidelity, and many people speculated about whether or not either Trump or Marla could actually be devoted to each other. Trump was known for his playboy reputation and frequent socializing, and because he was frequently seen with other women, this led to persistent suspicion of extramarital affairs, which eventually got exhausting for all parties. To make matters even worse, Trump was known for his playboy reputation and frequent partying. Following the dissolution of their marriage, Marla mostly withdrew from public view in order to concentrate on the upbringing of their daughter, Tiffany. In addition to that, she explored a variety of ventures, including as performing, hosting television shows, and promoting wellness and spirituality. Throughout her life, Marla has expressed her affection for her role as a mother, and she frequently cites her bond with Tiffany as the most significant aspect of her existence. Trump, on the other hand, proceeded to establish his commercial empire and expand his image. Not only did he marry Melania Trump, a Slovenian model, in 2005, but he also had a son named Baron with her. At the end of the day, it is fairly obvious that the marriage between Marla and Trump terminated as a result of a mixture of rumors of infidelity, public scrutiny, and the fact that their priorities were very different from one another. What are your thoughts on the reasons that Marla Maples and Donald Trump decided to break their marriage? Provide your feedback in the comment section below. Remember to click on the next video that appears on your screen, give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe to our channel so that you can receive additional updates. This wasn't the worst in the world, despite how startling it may sound. During the month of December in the year 1989, Ivana and Marla Maples had their first encounter with one another, which was another event that made everyone's jaw drop. It would appear that President Trump and his family were experiencing a skiing vacation in Aspen, Colorado. On the other hand, he had discreetly made arrangements for his mistress, Marla, to be present in Aspen at the same time. It was through this means that Marla came into contact with Ivana. Ivana provided a comprehensive account of the events that transpired on that fateful day in Aspen in her book titled Raising Trump. She stated that a young woman with blonde hair approached me out of the blue and said, "Marla, and I love your husband, do you agree with me?" "Get lost," I told you. "He is the love of my life." Despite the fact that it was not ladylike, I was in a state of astonishment. In the midst of this fairly humiliating circumstance, can you even begin to fathom how shocked and perplexed Ivana must have felt? It was stated to her that after meeting with Marla, she was certain that her marriage to Trump had come to an end permanently. Following that, in February of 1990, almost 2 months after the encounter, Trump officially filed for divorce from Ivana. This was exactly what she had prophesied would happen. In any case, you would assume that once Ivana was gone, Trump and Marla would be able to live happily ever after together. However, this was not the case since. Despite the fact that they got married not long after this, they divorced, after just 2 more years of being together. This occurred just 4 years after they went their own ways. How come, you might wonder? Marla has at long last disclosed the horrifying information that was previously unknown, the reasons behind the breakup between Marla Maples and Donald Trump. Marla Maples and Donald Trump tied the knot in December 1993, 3 years after Trump obtained a divorce from Ivana.